Right. Hello, everyone. My name is Nikolin, and this is the second part of Python GUI programming. In the first part, you saw some basic concepts about Python GUI programming with Kinder. Now, in the second part, we are going to use those concepts to create some more complex app. All right. The app that we are going to create today is just a simple quiz app. Basically, our app is going to show to the user some questions with true/false alternatives. Then the user is going to complete all the questions, and when the user chooses to finish the quiz, our app is going to show the user the results. Then the user can exit our app. So basically, this is how our app is going to look like by the end. As you see in here, we have our header for our app, we have the question, we have the alternatives, as you see, true and false, and you can also see the buttons, the left and the right button that are used to switch between questions, right? The screen on the left is when the user chooses to finish the test. As you see, a pop-up has shown the user the results of the quiz. And the screen on the right, as you can see, we are showing to user the correct answers for our questions. All right, as a first step, we are firstly going to build a top-level widget. We are then going to create a class that we are going to use to encapsulate our app logic. We are then going to create all the widgets. So our screen would basically look like that. Then we are going to consider user interaction for our app. All right, let's start with coding. As the first step, we kind of need to create a top-level widget. As you see, I'm using PyCharm. I've already created my top-level widget here using TK class. I resized it and I have started the main loop. I have also prepared some initial code. As you see, this is just a list of questions that I'm going to use in my app. And also I have predefined some colors that I'm also going to use in my app. All right, so if we run this app, as you see in here, this is the top level widget. Now for the next step, we kind of need a frame. So we can pack all the other widgets within it. All right, so we are not going to create the frame here. We are going to create it in a class. So let's create a class. Let's just call it app. All right, so basically this will be our application class. It is the best practice to encapsulate all your app logic in a class. Basically, this is what everyone is doing in real world app. Our app to work needs a master window. So basically, we are going to need a master in here. Basically, the master widget, the window, is this root in here. All right, so we're going to set as master our root, so self.master, master. All right, now what we need to do in here is just create an instance of app class. All right, now as you can see, nothing has changed. Now we need to add to our top level window a frame. Let's just call it screen. Let's set it equal to the frame. Now, since our frame is going to sit on top level widget, this means that the parent of our frame is the top level widget. As you can see in here, the root top level widget, we pass it to the app constructor. Then from the constructor, we pass it to self.master. So self.master, which is the top level widget, will be the parent of our screen frame. All right, let's just set background to white. All right, now we need to pack our screen. Let's just run our app. As you see in here, our frame is not showing. That's because there is no widget inside our frame. We kind of need to tell Python that we need our frame to fill the whole possible space. So in order to fill the whole space, we can use the fill parameter. And let's just set it to both. All right, as you see, if we run it now, nothing happens because this kind of tells fill all the space that you can, but since our frame doesn't have any children, it can't fill any space. But if we set expand to true, it tells fill all possible space. Now, as you see, our frame has filled the whole space. All right, now we have created our frame. Let's go to the slides and see. We need to create a header for our application where we are going to set our application name, let's say. All right, basically it's just going to be a label. I think it's better if we kind of create a method and let's just call it create header. Right, and we just call this method in here, that create header. All right, so our app constructor won't get to go very long. All right, now let's write like self.header equal to label. Our label as a parent is going to have the frame. So as you can see, our label is inside the frame, not inside the main window. So it's inside the frame and the frame is inside the main window. All right, so self.screen, we can set the text, my quiz app. If you need to check any other property for any other component, just hold Control and press the class. As you see in here, there are a lot of properties you can use. What we need for now is just pad X and pad Y to add some padding and the font and the background. All right, so let's just add some padding. Let's just set it to like 20. And let's just set it to 5 maybe. Now, we kind of need to define a font. As you can see in here, I've already imported the font class. So let's just create an instance of it. We kind of can set family for our font. Let's set it to Times New Roman. And the size of the text, let's set it to 20. Right, now we just set the font of our label to our font variable where we defined our font. As a background, let's set a deep sky blue. Right. Now, if we run our app, as you can see, nothing happens because we must pack our header. All right, so we need it on top, so side. Let's just set it to, and we kind of need it to fill all the X direction. The header. All right, if we run, all right, as you see, we have forgot something. All right, yeah, we can solve that header.pack. So we call the method pack from our widget. All right, now it's good. As you see, we have our header. Now let's go back to the slides. Now we need to add a label that will hold the question. It will be just like the header on the top, but it is kind of not filling the whole space across the x-axis. All right, let's add it. Right, let's create another method and let's just call it create body. All right, now let's create another label. Let's call it Q label, Q for question. And let's just label, right, as a parent is going to have the screen. Let's just set some like all right, text. Yeah, we kind of need some padding in X, like 20 maybe, and Y like 10. All right. Now let's pack our widget. We need to pack it the top. All right. Now we need to call our method create body. So it will create our question label. Now we have the question here, but as you see, it is in the center. We kind of need it in the left. We can use the anchor property here in pack. Now let's just set it to east, I think. All right, I always, it's west. All right, I think now it's better. Let's go back to the slides. Now we kind of need to add like the footer maybe in here. And as you see, it's just like the header, but is on the bottom of the frame. All right, so let's just go and create the method that creates the footer. Right, let's just create a frame called footer. All right, our footer as a parent is going to have our screen frame. All right, that's all, I think. Maybe we kind of can add some padding. Let's set it equal to, and maybe 5. Now we pack it, solved footer, pack it on the bottom. And we kind of need to make it to fill all the x-axis. Right. If we run our app, no, we have to call also the create footer. If we run our app, as you see, we cannot see the footer because we kind of need to add some widgets so the frame can take some space. So as the next step, we basically need to add like these 2 buttons in here. So let's just add 2 buttons. All right, let's just call it solved left button, here that button. Right, our button is going to be layout inside our footer frame. So solved footer will be button's parent. Right, now let's set the text to previous. Let's add some padding. X like 20, Y like 5 maybe. Now we can copy this code. And let's create the right button. And let's just copy those properties from here to here. We can also choose some colors like background. Let's set equal to deep gray. Let's set equal to white. So for this background, deep green, background, white. Now let's run our app. All right. As you can see, nothing is shown because we have forgot to pack our buttons. Yeah, I always forgot. So self that left that button the pack. Let's pack it on the left. All right, now we need to pack our right button. All right, now let's run our app. Okay, now it's looking good, I think. Now I think we can kind of add our radio buttons and our radio frame. So basically we're adding our radio buttons in a frame so we can give some padding, both of them. If we would pack them in the screen frame, basically it looks like this, but packing them also in their own frame, we can give some padding to the frame so our radio buttons would be layouted like better. Okay, so let's just go and create our frame here at the body. All right, so self. Let's just call it like a radio frame. All right, self the screen as a master. And let's just add some padding to 20 maybe. 20, all right. All right. Now let's pack our frame. We start, as you can see here in the slides, our frame is layout on the right. So what we can do is like we can set the side to top. And we can kind of set the anchor east, all right, to right. Then we can set the fill to Y. So basically what will happen is like our frame is going to be set on the right of our screen, is going to fill all the Y axis. And like this, then we can kind of put on bottom of it all our radio buttons. So we are going to have a better layout if we act like that. Now let's add our radio buttons. So first of all, before we kind of create our radio buttons, we need to create a variable. Just var, just bar. Right. Then we kind of like create our radio buttons. So self.r1. Right, our radio buttons are going to be layouted on our radio frame. Kind of give first the value like 1. The variable will be the var variable. Set the text to true. And let's add some padding. Right. Now let's add the R2 radio button. This is just like the same, just the value is going to be set to 2. And the text to false. Yeah. If you run it now, nothing will show because we haven't packed our radio buttons. Please do not forget to pack your widgets. So cell.r1, that pack. Let's just pack it on bottom. Right. Also the same for the other one. Right, now if we're on our app now, all right, now I think it's good. But we kind of like, let's make the frame like white because you know it doesn't look very good like this. So let's go into radio frame and let's just pass, not here, here, like the background set to white. All right, now let's run our app again. I think it's better right now. Now let's just add like a dummy frame between our radius. Yeah, let's set its color to white. And let's just pack it the bottom. Now we kind of can see a line, so we can separate our radio buttons. All right, so we kind of need to change the colors of all the text label. Let's set it to white. It looks better. Also, let's increase maybe some padding. Let's make it this 45 and this 20. Yeah, now it looks much better, I think. All right, so now we have finished our layouting part. Now we are going to start with the functionality parts. All right, so first of all, we kind of need to define some variable that will hold for us the answers of the user for all the questions. So let's just create a dictionary. Right, and let's put like a key pair for each question based on index. So basically what we are going to do is like, for example, for the first question, we are with index 0 in the question list. As you can see in here, we are going to set a value none since the user initially hasn't answered any question. Then for the first one, none. This will continue. Then during the program execution, when the user chooses any question, we will set it to false or true based on user interaction. So first of all, we're going to create, like, as you can see in here, we have like 10 or 11 questions. So we need to create 10 or 11 entries for each question here in our answer dictionary. So let's use a for loop for in range. So we are going to use the length of our questions to count all the questions. Get in. Or then we are going to create an entry for each of them, initialize to none. All right, now we kind of need another variable. Yeah, current index. We are going to use it to index the current question that is shown to the user on the screen. And also another variable has finished. Let's just set it to false. Basically, this variable will help our program to know when the exam has finished or not. All right. So now, first of all, let's start with the switching between questions. Let's create two methods. All right. We don't have any more jobs to do with the create methods in here, and also with init for now. All right. Let's just call it next. All right, basically what this method will do is just increment our self-dot current index. All right. We kind of have incremented it, but we also need to make some changes, like we kind of need to change our question. Yeah. To do that, we can use the current index to take the entry, to take the dictionary that holds the question from our question list. So let's like question is equal to questions of that current question. Current index, sorry. Right now we kind of have the question. We need to change the Q level text property. Yeah, we kind of can change properties also like that. Q text, if you remember, is our, sorry, Q label. So Q label is our label that holds the question. So Q label text, let's just set it to question. All right, so now we have changed it like the text. But if we continue like that, our next method is going to become bigger and bigger. So I think it would be better if we create a method. Let's just call it update UI. Basically, this method is going to make updates the UI based on the properties that we defined here. Self that answers current index and has finished. Right. So now we just call update UI here at our next method. We can do the same for previous method, which sends the user to the previous question. Self that current index minus equals to 1, and then we update UI. So basically, as you can see in here, every time that we change like the current index, or we are going to change this has finished variable, we kind of need to update our UI, right? So this method is going to do more than just change a question, right? But for now, let's just leave it like that. Let's go here at the footer. We are going to use the button command property in order to, so when we press our button, the next and the previous methods are going to be called. So for the left, we're going to call the previous, and for the right, we're going to call the next. All right, now let's just test our app. As you can see, the question can change, but there is a problem. We kind of get some errors. Yeah. You see in here, this is like a list index out of range. Yeah, you cannot go back if you are like in the first question, because there is no question before that. So basically, before we go to the previous, we kind of like need to make a check. So if self that current index is greater than 0, and so that current index is less than length of our questions list, then you kind of like can go back. But if there isn't, you basically you can't. All right. We are going to update the UI only if the state like has changed. So basically, if our current index hasn't changed, we kind of don't need to update our UI. Yeah, we have to do also the same for the next, right? Okay. Now I think, yeah, we have to make some we have to add a -1 in here, because if you are in the end, you cannot have next, and if you are in first question, yeah, you kind of have next question. Now, if we press the previous button, as you can see, nothing happens. Yeah, this is do good because our problem is gone, but we have another problem. This is like confusing for the user. We kind of need to block these buttons. The user knows that there is no question before this one. All right. So basically what we can do, we can like call our update method in here, that update UI, just after we create our widgets. And here at our update UI, we can kind of like this section here for buttons. We can make, we can check like here, if current index is equal to 0, if we are at the first question, and block the left button, we will use the state property. We'll set it to disabled. Right, so now we have blocked our button. But if we are not on the first question, yeah, we need to unblock it. Right, so key.normal. Why? Let's run our app. Now, as you see, the button is blocked. If we go back, it's unblocked. If we go for back, the button is blocked, forward, unblocked. Let's do the same also for the right button. Just copy these lines of code. One less, change it to right. And also this for right. Yeah, for the right button, we kind of need to check the index for the last element, which is length of question -1. All right, now I think we kind of have like fixed the issue. It's good. Now we need to change the questions when we press this radio buttons. Radio buttons will have also a comment property that we will call some function when you click on them. All right. So we kind of need to create two properties. Let's just call them set current answer to true. Basically, this method will use the current index to set the answer of the user for the current answer to true. Right. Now we need another method that will do basically the same thing as this method, but will set the answer to false. So let's just paste false. Now we kind of need to check. So let's just, after we set it to true, let's just print dictionary self.answers. Right, we'll do the same for the other method, so we can check if our method has worked or not. Now we go at the body, we place the common property to self.set current as true. For the other one, common self.set current as false. Right, now let's run our app and let's check the console. Now if we set to false, all right, as you see, the first question changed to false. If we set it to true, it changed to true. Go next, we set it to false. But as you can see, there is a problem here. We kind of have like, if we go back here at the first question, yeah, we kind of need our checkbox to show true. As you can see, our checkbox shows always false. We have to tell the checkbox to show false if our user previously selected that answer as false. If it has selected it as true, we have to show true. To do this, we are going to use our update UI method. Right, so first of all, here in update UI, let's first check if our user has selected an answer previously for the current question. So we can check like if self.answers self.current index is equal to none. Now we know that the user hasn't selected on any question, so we are going to set var a value of 0. If you see here in our header, we have given value 1 for true and 2 for false. So when we set to 0, none of the checkboxes will be selected. Alright, now set var set to 0. Then if self.answers self.current index is equal to true, yeah, we can set our var to 1. Else, let's just set it to 2. Alright, now I think it should work. Yeah, here, self.var.set. Right, now there shouldn't be any problems. Alright, here we go. Right, we kind of have a problem here. Right, if we go back, alright, yeah, everything shows as false. Else, yeah, we need elif here. Right, so basically what we have done wrong was that we kind of checked if it was none, then it was none, so set it to 0. Then we check again if it was true. Basically none is not true, so it went and execute to set it to 2. So that's why we were seeing false at all those questions that we hadn't answered. So let's just place if, elif, else. Now it should definitely work. As you can see, for the question we haven't given any answer, there isn't any answer. But if we choose false here, we go back, we go previous, as you can see, our answer is safe. Now we kind of have almost finished our app. What we need to do, we need to create the means that will show the dialog to our user for his or her results. To do that, let's just create a method and let's call it finish test. Basically, when we finish the test, we kind of need to calculate the results. So let's create a variable called count. Let's initialize it to 1 to 0. Now we are going to check for each question. Right. As you can see in here, our dictionary that all the question has also the correct answer for this question. So we kind of need to evaluate the answer of the user with the correct answer. So if answer selected answers of the user for the question is equal to questions. So this is the question. If we put the key answer, then we get the correct answer for this question. So if those are equal, we are going to increment the CNT. All right. Now we can kind of call the dialog and already imported the dialog from Kinyer.message book. It is just that simple. Just call the method show info. Put the title name of the app or whatever you want. And you got correct. Let's just put the CNT out of right. But now, how are we going to call the finish test? Basically, we kind of need another button that will finish the test for the user. So maybe we can kind of create it in the middle of our app. So when the user presses that button, the quiz will finish. So we go at the header here. So here at the footer, we just need to add another button and pack it in the center. Select the center button. Right. Select the footer. Text. Let's set the text finish test. Right. Let's set padding to like 40. Let's set it to 5. Let's set a comment with equal to self.finish test. Alright, now what we can do in here, we can set the colors. Let's set the background to deep red and background to white. Right now we also need to pack it. So select the center button. Let's pack it on our footer. Right. I think and anchor as center. Okay. Now I think it's back with that's your correct output. All right. Now we can start to do again our test with we got 1. But this is not good. When we finish our test, we need to block all our widgets. And we kind of need to change this button with another one that will allow the user like to exit the app. Yeah. To do that, first of all, let's change something here. Finish test. Let's change the this has finished variable. Right now that we changed has finished, we can kind of update UI. Okay. Now here at update UI, we kind of need to check. So let's create a condition here that will check if the test has finished or not. So basically, if the test has finished, we kind of need to block our radio buttons. Set it to disable. Right now, we can also set the color for our radio buttons so we can show the correct answer. So basically, this means that when we finish our test, we can make like this radio button as red and maybe this as green. So we can kind of like show that, this was the correct question, the correct answer for this question. All right, so let's just set an if statement. So if question, let's you if we go up here, you can see that we have like the question for the current index. We can use that to get the correct answer. So let's like correct answer, question, answer. So if the correct answer was like true, then we have to color the R1 as red. No, sorry, green. So light green, and so the R2 as light red. Else, yeah, we kind of need to flip things, like make this 2 and this 1. All right. Basically, this is going to happen only if our app has finished, and this is probably going to happen when we call finish test. As you see, we have forgot to set this to true. Yeah. All right, now let's run our app. Now if we finish, you can see the radios are blocked. We can switch to check the correct answers, and also the results are shown. So let's make a try for our app. All right, so in Python, you can override methods. True. All right. Python uses defined time variables. Yeah, false. We cannot nest loop in Python. Yeah, this is false. All right. You can continue like that. Then when you choose to finish the test, yeah, we got 5 out of 11 correct. All right. Now we can check where we made some mistakes. Like we have done a lot of mistakes. Now, for the final step, we need to remove our finish test button, and we basically need to add another button that will, when pressed, will exit our app from our app. Basically, what we can do is like we can change the color for our finish test button and the text and the comment property. So we just need to change those three properties. Before that, let's create the function. that will exit our app. Basically, what we'll do is we'll call the destroy method from the master. Basically, this method, it just destroys the whole screen. Right, so now we need to make those changes only when we press the finish button. So we kind of need to make these changes here. So when we set has finished to true, tell that center button. Let's just set the background color like a light gray. All right, sorry, light. I'll just set it to 333. Tell the center button. Let's set the text to exit app. Right. And let's set the comment property. Let's set it to solve the text. Right now, if we run our app, then we exit our app. Basically, that was all we had prepared for today. Hope you all enjoyed it.